We are the music makers. And we are the dreamers of dreams.
How did you like the chocolate factory, Charlie?
I think it's the most wonderful place in the whole world.
All aboard, everybody.
This is kind of strange.
Yes, but it's fun.
So shines a good deed in a weary world.
Charlie, don't forget what happened to the man who suddenly got everything he always wanted. He lived happily ever after.
Hi there. And Warner Brothers said, let there be prequels. And the people thou art asked, why? You know, one comment I read is that Hollywood is creatively bankrupt. Yep, it is. Also, side note, wasn't this already made like not too long ago? You know, the one with Johnny Depp? Great actor. He looked so weird in that movie. I couldn't look at him in that movie. He just looked too like that. The movie looked off. It looked off to me. Even as a kid watching it, I was just like, what is this? I never even liked that remake because as a kid, I watched the one with Gene Wilder, okay? So when I was in elementary school and the Tim Burton one came out, I watched it in class and I was just thinking, why is it so dark? I think the Tim Burton version was incredibly dark compared to the original, where there were bright colors everywhere to purposely spark imagination. But no. Tim Burton had to put his own style on it. He had to do his Tim Burton thing and make everything so dark and stale, and it just ended up looking off to me. I never liked that movie and I don't like it now, and the thing is, I like Tim Burton as a director, I like Johnny Depp as an actor, but the remake just sucked. It just sucked. I didn't like it, and I don't know anyone in my family who likes it other than my cousin who is obsessed with Tim Burton movies. Or as my mother once told me not too long ago, it looked as if someone was on LSD and made that movie. My mom is so iconic, isn't she? Because you see the original where they put so much effort into every little thing. I have no doubt the Wonka movie will be good, okay? I'm not saying it's bad because I haven't watched it, so I'm just talking out of my ass right now, but just stay with me. Throughout the trailer, when you watch the CGI, you know it's not real. You know the candies aren't floating out of the jar. You know that he's not actually swinging from that pole freehand because he would probably dislocate his shoulder. By the way, we all know CGI ages extremely poorly, okay? Except for Jurassic Park. They knew what they were doing. I don't know how they made that last so long. The first Jurassic Park, the CGI still holds up to this day. I don't know how they did it. I don't know what they did differently back then, but they need to use that now because the CGI that they are using today, it looks cartoonish, it looks off, it just looks fucking weird, it looks fake. Am I complaining too much? I'm talking about Hugh Grant. What the fuck is this? What is this? Who thought this looked good? I don't understand how someone thought that this looked good. I don't understand it. But again, I don't think it'll be as bad as the Tim Burton fiasco that people call a film, alright? I don't think that's even a film. I think, like what my mom said, it just looks like someone was on a LSD when they made it, okay? But this new one, it looks very colorful, looks very vibrant. And from the trailer, it looks like the message that the movie's gonna give you is it's about working hard and finding your place in the world. And I think that's a great message to send out to kids because, like, let's be honest, it looks more like a children's movie, alright? Alright, I don't think it's really meant for adults per se. Maybe the nostalgia of it will bring adults in for it, of course, but not me. I'm very picky if you can't tell. But it's a prequel. Meaning, stay with me here, it is going to answer all of the questions that we had from the original movie. Now let me tell you what's wrong with that, okay? It is pulling back the curtain and it's going to explain away all of the mysteries that the first one had. And that is why I don't like these prequels that explain away everything, because then it doesn't spark any thought whatsoever. It doesn't give you that wonder of, oh, who is he? Where'd he come from? How did that happen? What are these morally ambiguous Oompa Loompas? I know I'm using my big words today. Ambiguous. But fear not, because now we have a prequel that will explain away all of your questions for you and leave nothing to the imagination. Because who needs imagination? The original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory had this mysteriousness to it.
Oompa, loompa, doompa dee da.
A sort of creepy, eccentric chaos to it, while still keeping this awestruck wonder from the point of view of a child. The beginning shows the Candyman's shop. He is tossing candy to all the kids. He's singing about how wonderful the Candyman is. Meaning him. He's tooting his own horn. But then the camera pans to Charlie Bucket, and Charlie Bucket is a wee poor boy. Charlie Bucket comes from a poor family, okay? They're going hungry. They don't have much food, but his mom and him are the two sole providers for the entire family, because it's six of them all together living in this one small room that they call a house. And he's watching all these kids buying these candy bars for themselves. He wants to join them, but he has no money, so he just walks away, and that is so sad to me. Every kid should be able to have some candy every now and then. Charlie can't afford it. So he's in class when it's announced that Willy Wonka, the inventor, the chocolate factory inventor, is going to be running a sort of contest where whoever finds the golden ticket in their chocolate bar will have the honor of getting to explore the inside of the infamous chocolate factory. But there are only 5 tickets. So the world is going haywire, much like during COVID where we ran out of toilet paper because everyone was just hoarding toilet paper. So it's kind of like that, but with this, they're hoarding chocolate bars. That was probably a poor example, but chocolate bars are selling out, right? They want the golden ticket. So kids all around the world are finding the golden tickets. And here are the Fab 4. First one, Mike TV. He loves cowboy movies. He has a toy gun of his own, emulating a cowboy. He's a fan of television programs and watches everything there is. So yeah, Mike TV, obsessed with TV. Okay, you got that? Okay, moving on. We got Augustus Gloop, who eats all the time. And I find this kid way too relatable, so I'm just gonna move on. We have a little brat here named Veruca Salt, who made her dad buy boxes upon boxes of Willy Wonka bars and made his employees open up all the boxes and all of the candy bars until they found one for her. So she didn't even find it herself. She had everyone else do it for her, and now she has a golden ticket. Fourth and final kid, Violet Beauregard. I think I'm butchering that last name. But you know, the gum chewing girl? Yeah, her. She's been chewing the same gum for 3 months straight, and when she's not chewing it, she puts it behind her ear to save it. Disgusting. I don't know how she hasn't gotten sick yet. That's just so gross to me. Ugh. And from all these interviews, you see these kids being pulled aside by this man named Slugworth. That sounds like a Harry Potter character name. Is there a Slugworth in Harry Potter? Someone let me know down below. That name sounds familiar to me. I'm pretty sure there's someone named Slugworth in Harry Potter. Anyway, moving on. Back to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So yeah, Slugworth pulls them aside and makes them an offer they can't refuse. Sorry, different movie. He basically tells them all, including Charlie, there's this thing called the Everlasting Gobstopper, and if you find it, give it to me, and I will make you rich beyond your wildest dreams. So remember that name, the Everlasting Gobstopper, because it'll come up 2 more times throughout this movie. Because later on, we find out that all of these children were chosen on purpose. Like, no one won these chocolate bars on accident. They all come from different backgrounds, from different families, and now Charlie's hopes and dreams are being crushed because he's convinced himself he's never gonna find the last golden ticket. But fear not, he finds a coin in the gutter, scoops it out, goes to the Candyman's shop, and what do you know? He opens it up and, drum roll please, guess what he finds? The one, the only, last, and final, 5th golden ticket. I was getting way too hot, so I changed into my X-Files t-shirt. See that? This is my favorite shirt ever. I just love that show. Sorry, back to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So he finds his chocolate bar, he runs home, he runs into Slugworth, he makes him the offer he can't refuse, and he goes back home, and he is on cloud 9, and Grandpa Joe miraculously gets up after being bedridden for years and years, and now he's all of a sudden okay to go to the chocolate factory. Now, we're all at the chocolate factory, alright? It's happening. We're 45 minutes into the movie, and we just now meet Willy Wonka. And Willy Wonka has never revealed himself to the public ever, and this is his first time where everyone is about to see him. The media, you know, they're hyping him up, they're making him seem almost larger than life, bigger than God, and then you see him, and he's limping on a cane toward the crowd. Then, now side note for a second, allegedly, don't know if this is true, I hope it's true, but allegedly, Gene Wilder wanted to do a somersault in the scene where they first meet the children. Let me just read to you from my handy dandy laptop, fun fact on why he does what he does. He wanted to do a somersault in the scene when he first meets the children. When asked why, the actor said that having Willy Wonka start out limping, end up somersaulting would set the tone for the character. He wanted to portray him as someone whose actions are completely unpredictable. From then on, no one knows if he's being honest or not throughout the movie. That is a genius. Gene Wilder, you've done it again. He wanted to portray someone who is completely unpredictable and mysterious. That this remake coming out soon, I'm sure will not have any mystery to it, which is unfortunate. Am I being too petty? Anyway, we the audience are now from then on given this aura of mystery. The 2023 film Willy Wonka, will it have mystery? Probably not. Aura of mystery gone. It's all just gonna be explained away. But back to Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka for a second. He nailed this performance, alright? His character gave this bizarre childlike behavior, the way his body moves, the way he speaks, even the way he dresses, like it's bright colors, and his sarcastic comments are just so iconic.
What this is?
My gum, it's gum!
Wrong!
So they've all entered the factory. They gotta sign something in small print that they don't know what it says, but they sign it anyway because they're idiots just like all of us.
Some kind of fun house?
Why, having fun?
And then they enter through the first of many optical illusion type rooms and hallways and doors, tunnels.
Inside this room, all of my dreams become realities. Some of my realities become dreams.
This factory is kind of like a fun house that you see at a carnival or a circus, you know, where every single room has a different theme and has a different purpose. And then they enter the chocolate room. My 6-year-old self was obsessed with this room. I wanted to go there so bad. I just wanted to walk through the screen and enter the chocolate room where every single thing is made of chocolate. It just sounded so amazing to me then, and it sounds so amazing to me now. And this is where the audience gets serenaded by Gene Wilder and now have a craving for chocolate. I've always loved this little song. It's so beloved and sweet. And I can't tell you how this scene hits different when you're an adult watching it. You can see just how proud he is providing these children happiness.
If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it.
Even the adults are having a good time. Different like short little cuts to the adults just enjoying themselves. It's really funny to watch. The camera cuts back to Willy Wonka. You can almost see a slight tiredness in his facial expressions as he's sitting down. And I think it really resonates with us as adults watching this because after all the hardships that we go through, we can all just sit down, take a breath, and take in the joy that you've given to these people, even if it's only for a few minutes. We can identify with his slight exhaustion as he eats that edible cup, and we can truly understand the meaning of the song Pure Imagination. Just let me read to you a lyric from this song because it's pretty deep. Handy dandy laptop again. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there you'll be free if you truly wish to be. One of my favorite songs. But this moment is short-lived, as it almost always is. And we get this brat who refuses to listen to his mother. And what happens when you don't listen to your parents, kids? You fall into the chocolate river and get sucked up a tube.
Don't just stand there, do something!
Help. Police. Murder.
You know, as a kid watching this, swimming in a chocolate river sounded amazing. It sounded like heaven to me.
He can't swim!
There's no better time to learn.
But then you watch this scene and you realize he's about to get sucked down into a tube and lose oxygen.
Pressure will get him out. Terrific pressure is building up behind the blockage.
So that dream of mine as a 6-year-old, it quickly died.
He'll be made into marshmallows in 5 seconds.
Impossible, my dear lady. That's absurd. Unthinkable.
Why?
Because that pipe doesn't go to the marshmallow room, it goes to the fudge room.
But luckily, the Oompa Loompas are here to save the day. They are here to save Augustus Gloop from suffocating in the tube, but not before singing a song that insults the hell out of him.
Eating as much as an elephant eats.
These songs the Oompa Loompas sing, you don't realize how dark and twisted these lyrics are until, again, you watch it as an adult. These songs are just deeply insulting these kids.
What are you at? Getting terribly fat.
I think the Oompa Loompas are just as nonchalant as Mr. Willy Wonka over here. At least he doesn't make fun of the kids like the Oompa Loompas do, where they sing an entire song bashing your life choices to a kid.
I don't like the look of it.
It's not funny.
Oompa, loompa, doompa-dee-da.
Oh, I'm going to hell, aren't I? Anyway, and then there were 4. We cut to the infamous tunnel boat ride.
You sure this thing will float, eh, Wonka?
With your buoyancy, sir, rest assured.
Hey, Daddy, I want a boat like this.
Where it gives you the heebie-jeebies, the more creepy aspects of the film, the more nightmare images that you only get from the tunnel of fear, I like to call it. You want to scare your kids? Play this scene for them.
I don't like this ride, Daddy.
If you want to scare yourself before falling asleep, watch this scene. The tunnel ends up showing these graphic images of bugs crawling all over your face. They zoom in. It's dark and they can't see anything. The passengers aboard are freaking out, which is very understandable.
You can't possibly see where you're going, Wonka!
You're right. I can't.
And you know what makes it 10 times worse? This movie takes an even darker turn, if you can believe it.
Boy, what a great series this would make.
He starts singing, but not pure imagination. No, we're past that point now.
Is it raining? Is it snowing?
This movie will amp up your fears that you didn't know you had. So thank you, Willy Wonka, for giving me nightmares as a kid. I really appreciate it.
Any signs that they are slowing?
It's something you never thought this movie needed, but they end up making it work. I think the purpose of this scene was to show Willy Wonka watching everyone else and seeing their reactions. Who reacts well in a dangerous and/or scary situation? He's playing mental games with them all, just as before when he tricked everyone with his fake limp, and now he's misleading again. Cause just like the hallway, the door, this tunnel too is an optical illusion.
We're there.
The lights come on and they were never moving fast at all. He got the reaction he wanted out of the people. Why? We don't know. But later on we will learn why he did the things he did. Stay with me, it's coming up, don't worry, because there is more deceiving yet to come. So as I said, they were not moving as fast. When the lights come on, they're at a full stop. And it's kind of like those Disneyland and Disney World rides where they have the wind machines blowing in your faces, or they have the ride tilting in different ways to make it look like you're immersed in the experience. Like the boat ride was kind of like that, I guess. They all get out of the boat and I love the little comments they're all making to each other as they're getting off the boat.
Now, why don't they show stuff like that on TV?
I don't know. Daddy, I do not want a boat like this.
They're now entering a different room of the factory. This is where they find the everlasting gobstopper. Remember that from the beginning? Supposedly, or what he tells them, it never rots, it never goes bad, it lasts forever.
You can suck them and suck them and suck them, and they'll never get any smaller.
And no one can tell anyone else in the outside world about it. And that is the everlasting gobstopper that Slugworth wanted and was bribing these kids and these families to give him. And then they move on. They all take one. But again, later on we will learn why he gave it to them. Let's move on. He's showing them a different type of candy, and
Hey, gum, it's gum.
Wrong!
Violet, being Violet, doesn't listen.
Quite right, Jen.
I don't care.
Oh, I wouldn't do that. I really wouldn't.
Just like all the other little brats in this movie. No kid listens to their parent. And I just love the way he doesn't try to stop her.
Stop. Don't.
In his mind, he's probably thinking, you know what, let them learn their lesson. Let them learn from their mistakes. And she takes the candy from his hand, she eats it, and then we get the famous line,
Violet, you're turning violet, Violet!
Meanwhile, her dad is rightfully freaking out
Always goes wrong when we come to the dessert. Every time, they all become blueberry.
because he has a blueberry for her daughter.
What's happening?
You're blowing up like a balloon.
Like a blueberry.
The Oompa Loompas come out and sing their hauntingly cheerful song, insulting the child that needs help, and they roll her away, and then there were 3. And we move on to the next room of the factory. They all enter the bubble room, where the bubbles are everywhere.
That it lifts you right off the ground like a balloon.
Oh, isn't it high? Gosh!
And he basically says, looky, no touchy.
No, absolutely not. There'd be children floating around all over the place. Come along now, don't hang about.
And expect the kids not to touch it. Guess what happened? Let me just tell you a quick story from my childhood, alright? I was in ballet class, maybe 5 years old. I'm small. I saw a bright and shiny red box with a handle that said, "Don't pull down." Guess what I did? I pulled that sucker down is what I did. I'm 5 years old at this point. The world is my oyster. And that oyster ended up sounding off the fire alarm all throughout the ballet studio and the entire building. All I'm saying is don't wiggle something in front of a child, tell them not to touch, and set it down somewhere knowing that said child can reach it. So what do you think happens when Willy Wonka walks away and Charlie and his grandpa are left alone in the bubble room? They drink the fuck out of that bubble juice. And they start floating up into the air, defying all laws of gravity. Eventually they float too high and are about to be hacked to pieces by the ceiling fan.
Charlie, it'll chop us to bits. We're in trouble, Charlie. I can't stop.
This movie is made for kids. But luckily, they know how to burp on command.
Grab onto me, Charlie. We're gonna be all right.
So they burp out all that bubble juice that they had in their system. It's gone now. They float down to the surface. And let me just tell you, I do not know how to burp on command, so I definitely would have been hacked to pieces by that ceiling fan for sure. They catch up with the group. They're now in the golden egg room. You know how birds lay eggs, right? They poop out of their ass or whatever. I don't know. These are special birds. Not only are they gold eggs, but they are also chocolate eggs. I would totally purchase that bird as a pet. Could you imagine the money you can make? And Veruca Salt knows this because she goes to her daddy and says, "Daddy, I want one." And Wonka says they're not for sale, and I guess Veruca freaks out. I don't think she's ever been told no in her entire life because she freaks the fuck out. She throws the biggest temper tantrum that a girl her age should not be throwing temper tantrums. She makes a mess of the entire room, and that eventually causes her demise because she steps on that weight scale. The weight table determines whether it's a good or bad egg. Guess which egg she is. So you see where I'm going with this.
Don't care how I want it now.
That trapdoor swings open and she falls down into the abyss where all the other bad eggs go.
She was a bad egg.
Where did it lead to?
To the furnace.
This is a children's movie. The Oompa Loompas sing their insulting song.
Do you play when your kid is up? Right. If you're not spoiled, then you will go far.
And they move on to the TV room where Willy Wonka literally learned the art of transportation. So move aside Prestige, move aside The Fly with Jeff Goldblum in his prime. We got a new sheriff in town, and his name is Willy Wonka, Mike TV.
Stop, don't come back.
Another kid who didn't listen to his parents gets what's coming to him. And he is now a borrower. He is small as can be. His mother's freaking out, rightfully.
Wait till the kids back home hear about this.
Nobody's gonna hear about this.
Her child is now 2 inches tall, but have no fear, the Oompa Loompas are here to sing an insulting song and then save your kid.
What do you get from a glut of TV?
A pain in the neck and an IQ of 3.
And then there was the one and only Charlie Bucket. But something is off. Wonka shows them the way out and is very aloof. He goes into his office where there is half of everything, and Charlie and his grandpa, they ask him, "What's wrong? What happened? What do we do?"
Because he broke the rules.
And Wonka explains to them that they broke the rule. He knows that they drink the bubble juice.
You stole fizzy lifting drinks.
And Charlie's Grandpa Joe, he calls Willy Wonka out. He gives him the business. He will not let this grown man yell at his grandson.
How can you do a thing like this? Build up a little boy's hopes and then smash all his dreams to pieces.
By the way, another side note real quick. The actor who played Charlie had no idea that Gene Wilder's character, Willy Wonka, was going to shout at him, because Gene and Peter, Charlie Bucket, they had become friends on set. Like they became sort of just buddies throughout the filming of this movie. And so when Gene was yelling at Peter in this scene, Peter was shocked. And they kept his original reaction from being yelled at by his new friend.
So you get nothing! You lose!
That fact left me heartbroken, because that's his genuine reaction. He didn't know what was going on or why Gene was yelling at him. The things we do for the theater. After he's done going off on him, Charlie apologizes by giving him the everlasting gobstopper. He realizes he doesn't want the gobstopper. He gives it back. He doesn't want the money. He wants to be rid of Willy Wonka and his games. And so he starts walking away, and what do you know?
So shines a good deed in a weary world.
Charlie.
It was all a test, you see.
You won! You did it!
Wonka needed to know that Charlie wasn't going to profit off of the everlasting gobstopper.
Forgive me for putting you through this. Please, forgive me.
Charlie proved to Willy Wonka that he's a good and honest kid.
That's not Slugworth. He works for me.
For you?
I had to test you, Charlie.
So as a reward for his honesty, he gives Charlie and his grandpa a ride in the glass elevator where they break through the glass ceiling. Literally, they break through a literal glass ceiling. And another part I loved from this scene, as they're going up and are about to exit the factory, Gene Wilder's character is just like, oh, we're going really fast, but where are we going? We can go up, down, sideways, we don't know. The excitement of the unknown. Wonka reveals to Charlie that he is looking for someone to carry on his legacy, but he doesn't want it to be an adult. He wants it to be a child.
Grown up would want to do everything his own way, not mine.
Because Charlie represented hope and kindness.
How did you like the chocolate factory, Charlie?
I think it's the most wonderful place in the whole world.
While the other kids in the entire group, they represented a lot of greed and a hell of a lot of chaos. And so Willy Wonka, he didn't want to give the factory to just anyone. And he sees a lot of himself in Charlie.
I can't go on forever, and I don't really want to try.
And so yeah, he leaves the entire chocolate factory, all of the money, to Charlie.
I'm giving it to you.
It's very Cinderella story-esque, from rags to riches. And there is a famous closing line.
Don't forget what happened to the man who suddenly got everything he always wanted.
Delivered by Willy Wonka, and he says,
What happened?
He lived happily ever after.
I love that line. It's so beautifully delivered. So, a few fun facts about the movie. The actress who played Veruca Salt ended up cutting her knee. I think she ended up falling onto the rock that she thought was fake, but it wasn't, and it ended up being a real rock. Because everything in that room was supposed to be fake, right? But the one thing that was real, she ended up hurting herself on. So it's not fun. So if you look closely at the scene where she's trying to like break that ball thing on the rock, you can see on her left stocking is all bloody. That is real blood. And she still has a scar from that injury. Fact number 2, during the boat ride scene, Gene Wilder's acting was so convincing that a few of the actors got scared of him. Apparently they thought Wilder was really going mad. Which, in my opinion, if you're gonna take on really weird roles as an actor, you gotta be kind of weird. And I mean, Gene Wilder, he pulled it off. Another fun fact about this movie, the chocolate river is an actual chocolate river. That's real chocolate that you see. It was made of chocolate, water, and cream. And since it was real food, you know, that was in the water, it ended up stinking up the entire set. Apparently the smell was horrendous. I can't imagine how bad that stench was. The Candyman scene, you know, the opening scene in the movie where he's singing along to all the kids in the candy shop, he opens up the counter thing, what do you call it? The pass-through on the counter, and it hits the little girl in the chin. You can see it, like when you watch it a couple of times, you can see it happen, and you can see her head being knocked back. Was she okay? We don't know, but I do know that she deserves an Oscar for not crying out in pain from her chin and head being knocked back. Fact number 5. Most of the chocolate bars that you see in the movie are made of wood. It's not real chocolate. It's wood. Not the stuff the actors are eating, obviously. I mean, you'd get quite a splinter doing that. But I'm talking about the background chocolate, you know? The ones on the shelf and everything. All of that is wood. Every time I watch this movie now, I'm gonna be looking very closely at the chocolate in the background of the scene and be thinking to myself, it's nothing but wood. My whole life has been a lie, simple as that. Now, I'm not the only one who thinks that the 2005 remake of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was good. Gene Wilder himself insulted the movie. Gene Wilder himself blasted the 2005 remake, saying, and I quote, "It's an insult to do that with Johnny Depp, who I think is a good actor and I like him, but I don't care for that director, Tim Burton. He's a talented man, but I don't care for him doing stuff like he did." Ouch. I mean, I can't blame him on that front, and here's why. As the famous Dr. Malcolm once said, just because you can do something does not mean you should. The original will always be better because it was the pioneer. It was the prototype of inspiration to everything that we see today on screen. Now, don't get my words twisted. I think Timothée Chalamet is an amazing actor, okay? I've always been a fan of his, not because I'm attracted to him. He's a little too scrawny for my taste. He's one of my favorite actors of my generation, alright? Every single thing that I have seen him in, I'm just transported. Like, no matter what character he plays, he's just so believable in any role he is in. I mean, this guy is going places, alright? He is here to stay. He ain't going anywhere. I don't think this Wonka movie will do him justice. That's just my opinion. And again, I haven't seen it because I see nothing but CGI in every single scene from this trailer. And it just bothers the hell out of me, okay? I mean, what is he supposed to look at when there's nothing but a green screen behind him? Or if someone tells him, oh, look into the air and pretend that you're looking at something, and he has to use his imagination because there's nothing for him to look at. and so it just bothers me. But since I'm bashing this movie so much, I think it's only fair that I have to go see it now. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that it's a phenomenal movie, and I'm sure the movie will be good, but it won't be as good as the original. And you cannot replace someone like Gene Wilder, okay? You can't do it. It can't be done. So when this Christmas rolls around, you'll know where to find me. So if you hear someone laughing at Hugh Grant as an Oompa Loompa, that person will probably be me, because I can't get over it. I can't get over it. He looks horrible. I can't. If you're here with me now, thank you for watching. Don't forget to unsubscribe from my channel and go have a movie night. Watch all the movies in order. Watch the original, watch the Johnny Depp one, and see which one you like better. I would love to know what your thoughts on it are. And remember, life's a movie. Direct it well.